Well, a rare good evening, I guess. We're looking at thawing out finally from a frozen week here in the Northwest. Um, Day off. It's always nice. Um, what do I talk about? Or actually, how do I say this? A lot of these times I want to say if I was talking to people, I was talking to a group or talking, if I had the chance to address some of these things that I see on the news, it drives me up the wall. But, because no one, I won't say no one, we always pussyfoot around these topics. And I listen to people in the heat of the moment talking about different subjects to another subject, be it politics or whatever. and and it drives me kind of nuts because they're still not saying it in clear, concise wording. Just, I mean, regular talk. They try being too formal, too politically correct, whatever it is. Um, One of the things that I'm seeing right now, and I'll touch on this and leave it at that, is that in talking to um, evangelicals, Christians, those of faith, that, and I'm going to touch on the T word, and that are sold out or whatever for Trump. Not so much the Republican Party, but just that they are that way. And all I can really say is what I've felt from the beginning when he very first ran. And it still holds true, and that came through much prayer. But it keeps on getting clearer and crystallized as the days and the months and the years go by. If I had a chance to address any kind of congregation or any group of people that were of faith, my talking point would be that that a leader that you want in the office is someone who is strategic, open-minded, and understanding of the pitfalls and the struggles and the dangers, as well as the hope and the thriving of a nation. And I'll say it point blank, I've never seen that in Trump. And the way that I can turn around and kind of bring this to a allegory, or try to bring this to an idea that maybe people can wrap their head around, is that if you are of that faith, that you have a hierarchy as well. And that hierarchy within a church is, you have the people that attend, the people that are willing to work with it, the people that are willing to help with the worship, or help with the being a deacon, or being whatever it is. You have that hierarchy. Okay? Collectively, they are all different people, each individual, but they do have the one um, the one solid thing that joins them all, and that is they're there to worship. They're there to have a communion with faith, which goes beyond their biases. In your hierarchy, you have your associate pastors and you have your pastor. Okay? And the pastor has a lot on his shoulders. Otherwise, he would not have or she would not have the following. The following of people that believe that this is the person that can maintain a assembly of people that are all of the same mind, same thought process. And they're there to worship, to explore, to exercise their faith. Okay? To have that pastor there, that pastor has already gone through the maneuvers and is there to lead the flock, as they say, like a shepherd. Okay? Your assembly knows this. And for whatever reason, when it comes down onto a national level, I've got a lot of different thoughts about why. And I've heard a lot of different sides of why. But when it comes down to the national level, there is that separation. Okay? For whatever reason, for whatever anointing it was, we live in a land that when it first was assembled and came about, there was really none like it to be that free thinking. But they did have the thought that there is a higher authority. And however you want to see that in denominational minds, you still are subjected to it. You are still a subject of it. That is the reason why we have the laws, the reason why we have the court system. That's the reason why we have the country we live in. To have, which is much like the hierarchy of a church, to have somebody at the head of that, they must also have not only that in mind, but they share the responsibility of a higher authority, of being humble enough, humility and strength, to listen and to try to guide and fall and pick themselves up, but of that nature. Trump is not, and I'm going to get into a little theology here, Trump is not like a Paul, where there was such a conversion in his life. And maybe it's to be at a late age. I don't know. But for everyone to follow him is scary to me because he does not have that qualification or the credential, mind you, yet of a pastor to be a head. Okay? And give me the liberty to say he's BS'd his way to the top. And so for anybody to turn around and have that mind where they say that they're going by faith on this is okay, but you need to understand, if you were to have a new person come into your church or to your house and say that they are going to start running things, your scrutiny, your microscope would be picking up on a lot more. It is by faith that we live. But you do not live by that faith when you turn around and you hand the reins over, and I'll keep it simple, to your church, to a person that has just walked in the door, and whether they've given their life over to Christ, whether they've given they have a testimony or whatever, you do not hand the reins to the church over to them. It's as simple as that. Okay? I'm sure there was a struggle back in the day when Paul had done his conversion. And he had to prove himself to those followers that say, wait a minute, this is the guy who used to kill us. They used to, arrest us. It took a lot of faith, but he came with an anointing that a lot of them could not deny. It hasn't happened in Trump's life. I'll say it that way. And for me to hand the reins over to my church is not even in my thought process. Okay. The same goes for the country. For him to hand over the reins to my country once again, after what he has done, what he did the first time around, is definitely hard. I hope that he humbles himself. I hope that he has a complete conversion. I hope that he is touched and anointed in a way so powerful by God that it shows. But I have a really, really hard time believing that he would give up his worldly possessions for it. I have a really, really hard time with the thought process that he would be willing to get on his knees. And that's what I would tell a congregation. I would love to be proved wrong. There's nothing more in the world than I learn more from those moments. But I can speak soundly and say that if I was just even attending church and all of a sudden there was a shakeup within that hierarchy, and there was someone of that nature that came in, and that is now my pastor, my leader, going down, and we're going to turn around and go with him, I would have a really, really hard time attending that church. And I say that again with the country itself. this is not the way that you do things structurally, civilly, soundly, or by faith. Okay? That's all I have to say. 15 minutes of just, putting that out there. And I pray for our country. I pray for every person in it that's running amok, and I pray for every person that's trying to hold down the fort. I pray for it. And I wish us nothing but love. Nothing but love. There you go. Wasn't so deep, was it?